Okay, so ready to dive into something that sounds straight out of sci-fi.
Always. You know me. Hit me.
AI for your voicemail. It's a service called audio-to-text.email. And it promises to, get this, turn those audio messages into like neat little emails.
Okay, hold on. So instead of listening to a voicemail, you get like a transcript.
Exactly. No more scrambling for a pen or trying to decipher a message in a loud room.
And it is pretty much right out of some futuristic movie.
Totally. But the tech behind it is actually pretty fascinating.
Yeah, lay it on us. How does it even work?
Well, they use something called the Whisper model.
Mm-hmm.
It's from OpenAI. Those are the same folks behind ChatGPT.
Oh, wow. Okay, so Whisper is like their transcription specialist.
Exactly. Designed for super accurate transcription.
That's wild. I mean, ChatGPT can transcribe too, right?
It can, but they explain on the site why Whisper is better suited for this specific task.
Makes sense. Use the right tool for the job and all. So what, you just forward your voicemails to this service?
Basically. And then, boom, you get an email with the transcribed message. They even say they can handle 57 different languages.
57? Seriously, that's kind of mind-blowing.
It really is. Imagine getting voicemails from clients all over the world and instantly understanding them. Breaks down a lot of barriers.
Huge for global business, for sure. Okay, but let's be real. How accurate can it be? What if someone has a thick accent? Or if the message is left from, like, a busy street corner?
Totally valid question. They actually don't go into detail about those specific scenarios, so that's definitely something to keep in mind.
Yeah, gotta be realistic, right.
Right. But they do emphasize the accuracy of the Whisper model, so it's worth considering.
And hey, even if it's not perfect, just having a written version could be super helpful for, like, getting the gist of a message quickly.
Exactly. Especially if you're pressed for time. It could be a huge productivity booster. Speaking of, they actually target this service specifically towards busy professionals. Therapists, freelancers, anyone who can't always be glued to their phone.
Okay, so it's all about convenience and efficiency.
It seems that way. They even highlight a story from a user, Suzanne. She wears a hearing aid and finds voicemails difficult to understand.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that makes total sense.
With audio-to-text.email, she can actually read the transcripts and easily keep up with their messages.
See, that's what I love about tech. It can really make a difference in people's lives. Accessibility is so important.
Absolutely. It's about opening up communication, making it work for everyone. Okay, so picture this. You're in an important meeting, phone's on silent, of course,
Been there.
and suddenly, ping, you get a notification. A transcribed voicemail pops up on your screen.
Okay, I see where you're going with this. You can instantly see if it's urgent or if it can wait.
Exactly. No more interrupting your flow or letting those voicemails pile up and cause anxiety.
Talk about a game changer for productivity. And it sounds pretty affordable, too, from what I saw on their site.
Yeah, $5.99 for 100 minutes of transcribed audio. Not too bad considering the potential time and hassle it could save. But what about security?
Ah, good point. This is sensitive data we're talking about. What do they say about privacy?
You're right to ask about that. They do mention it. Like they emphasize that your data is only kept for a maximum of 14 days.
Okay, so they're not holding on to it forever. Gotcha. And what about if you delete it sooner?
You can totally do that. They give you complete control over your info.
Good to know. Transparency is key with this stuff. So they've covered the tech and the how, the process, but what's the actual user experience like?
Well, their website actually walks you through the whole setup process. It's
That's
pretty detailed. It even has screenshots and stuff.
Screenshots. I love that. It makes it so much easier to visualize, especially for those of us who aren't exactly tech wizards.
Right. And speaking of making things easy, they even have this really cool feature for cost estimation.
You mean like a calculator thing?
Exactly. It's an audio duration calculator. You can use it to estimate how much the service will cost based on the length of your voicemails.
That's so smart. I mean, since their pricing is per minute of transcribed audio, it just makes it super transparent and helps you budget accordingly.
Totally. I love that they're giving users the tools to understand their usage and make informed decisions.
Okay, so we've talked about how convenient this all sounds, but are there any downsides? Anything we should be wary of?
Well, while they do boast about the accuracy of the Whisper model, I'm wondering about real-world performance. Like, what if someone has a super thick accent? Or if there's a ton of background noise? Could that throw things off?
You bring up a good point. They don't really get into those specifics on their website. So yeah, it's probably safe to say that while the technology is impressive, it might not be flawless in every single situation.
Right. It's like, gotta manage expectations a bit. Exactly. And that kind of leads to another thought. What happens if there is a mistake in the transcription? Let's say you miss an important detail, because the AI just didn't quite catch a word or phrase.
That's where context and using your own judgment are super important. Even though it's convenient to rely on the transcript, it's important to remember it's still a machine trying to interpret human speech, which can be messy.
Yeah, it's not meant to replace actually listening to your voicemails entirely, but more like a handy tool to quickly grasp the important stuff.
Totally. Like one way to prioritize, scan the transcript, see what needs immediate attention and what can wait.
Okay, makes sense. But let's play devil's advocate here for a sec. They keep talking about efficiency and streamlining communication. But could this tech actually lead to some unintended consequences down the line?
Like what? Give me an example. I'm intrigued.
Well, could it make us less patient with actually listening to people? If we get used to just reading these concise little summaries, will we be less inclined to really engage with the nuances and emotions that come through in someone's voice?
Whoa, that's deep. It's like how we've become so used to text messages and emails that sometimes a good old-fashioned phone call feels so much more personal.
Exactly. And like with any new technology, there's always that risk of becoming overly reliant on it. It's about finding that balance between efficiency and real human connection.
Couldn't agree more. Tech should enhance our lives, not replace the things that make us human.
Okay, so we've explored the potential downsides, but let's zoom out a bit. Where do you see this technology going in the future?
Ooh, that's where things get really interesting. Just imagine if AI could not only transcribe our voicemails, but also actually understand the content and generate appropriate responses.
Like having your own personal AI assistant for your voicemail.
Exactly. It could free up so much mental space and time for us and for businesses. The possibilities are endless. Customer service inquiries, meeting transcriptions, even analyzing customer feedback automatically.
It could revolutionize the way we communicate. But with all those possibilities come some big questions too. As AI becomes more integrated into our lives, we need to be having those conversations about ethics and responsible development.
Absolutely. We got to make sure this technology benefits everyone, not just a select few.
Sounds like we're on the brink of something incredible, but also pretty complex. But before we get lost in the what ifs, let's bring it back to the here and now.
Back to reality, and the big question on everyone's mind, does this actually provide value today? Is it worth checking out?
To answer that, let's recap what we've learned about audio2text.email. We've talked about its impressive features. We've weighed the potential benefits and drawbacks.
We even took a little trip to the future of AI-powered communication.
It's been quite the deep dive. But before we wrap things up, I want to leave you with one final thought.
I'm all ears. Lay it on us.
So we've been talking about AI transcribing our voicemails, right? But what if this could actually help us bridge that gap, that communication gap between what we say and what people actually hear?
Oh, interesting. You're saying like seeing our words written out could make us more aware of how we're coming across.
Exactly. It'd be like holding up a mirror to how we communicate, right? We might realize, oh, I ramble, or maybe I'm not being as clear as I thought.
Or even like, whoa, I sound kind of harsh. I can see that. It's like a tool for self-improvement, not just for efficiency.
Right. Imagine how that could impact our relationships, not just at work, but with our friends and families too.
Huge. I mean, everyone always says communication is key, right? This could be a whole new way to unlock that.
Totally. So we've talked about all the cool practical stuff about audio2text.email, but at the end of the day, tech is really a reflection of us.
Not like that.
It's up to us to use it in a way that benefits everyone, not just makes our lives a little easier.
Couldn't agree more. Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive. I have a feeling I'm going to be looking at my voicemail inbox a little differently from now on.
Me too. And I bet our listeners will be thinking twice about those voicemails too. Until next time, keep those messages coming, but maybe don't be afraid to pick up the phone every now and then too.